So I guess my first question would be, how did the quarantine affect your life?
I don't think it really did a big toll. Like it was something like so drastic. Sorry, my eye was just too, but I don't think it was like something like so drastic. Like, oh my gosh, I'm quarantined. You know, like I think it was more like, I mean, like we don't go to school for 3 days. You know, but it was like one of those where it's like I was really sad and disappointed because I wanted to go to school because I actually like looking at people's faces, you know, even with the masks on, you know, so I didn't like that. And then I had to learn how to like I had like a plan, but I had to also had to make a plan like, okay, so like if I do get quarantined again, like I have to make sure like I know what worked for me and what didn't work.
Yeah.
Excuse me. What worked and what didn't work. So that way, like whenever we do go, if we do go on online remoting, which we are, I have like an idea of like, okay, like I could go to my room for these classes or, you know, go to the kitchen, you know? So like I had to make a plan and see what worked and what didn't work.
How did it feel that you just got off quarantine, you're going into the week, and then yesterday they tell you we're going online till November 30th? How did that sit with you?
I wanted to cry. Like when we got quarantined, I was like, I wasn't really like, oh, I'm so mad. Like I was like, okay, you know, it was bound to happen, okay? So like I expected us to get quarantined, but then like right when we're gonna go to school and then like just to find out we're doing remote learning, I was like, are you freaking kidding me? I was like, I was planning my outfits, Nathaniel, okay? I was planning my outfits, what I was gonna wear because I was gonna see people just for me to be home. So I was just more like disappointed and sad because I was like, I don't want to be at home. I don't like the online learning.
What was one thing before the quarantine that you kind of took that during the quarantine you took for granted?
Oh, like with my Avid, like in my homeroom, so we're Avid and like we'll always watch a show and anything like that during homeroom. We'll all eat together. And like I couldn't do that because I was in quarantine. So like I kind of took that I guess for granted in a way because like I'm like it's gonna be nothing. But then I realized that like hey, like I actually miss you guys.
So just kind of social interaction. You're missing that social interaction.
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
Did the quarantine kind of affect you mentally?
Oh yeah, as humans, you need that social interaction. As humans, like it's in us. You have to interact with people. You know, like even if it's just a little bit. Like my sister, she is so shy, and it took the big effect on her too, because she like even though she's so shy, like she likes talking to her friends, you know, and like and with this whole quarantine and everything like that, it's just so ridiculous because you want to be able to talk to your people, but you have all these guidelines you have to follow, and then on top of that people are losing jobs and everything like that. And then like I don't know how everyone's household is, but like some people may not have enough food, you know, because like parents aren't working or whatever, you know. And like I this whole thing is gonna I for me personally it does take a toll on my mental health, you know,
Yeah.
because I want to be able to go talk to people and everything, and then not wearing the mask. And it's not just even like having to go talk with people. Like I guess it's just like finding out like there's a pandemic going around where like you have the chance of dying, or like somebody you know that's a high risk is gonna die. Like
Yeah.
you have just like there's these all these probabilities that you don't even know if like you're gonna get it or not. And it's just literally like Russian roulette, I think of it as. So what is it gonna be today? Am I gonna get it or am I not? Am I gonna be sad today or am I gonna be happy? You know?
Um, so I guess the overall question I would ask is, how did the quarantine affect you?
It affected me in a lot of areas. My grades kind of started going down a bit, especially when you have DP and AP classes.
Yeah.
I would say it's definitely more work in a way. Definitely more different than if you were in a classroom.
Yeah.
But I guess it's also a good thing as well because there's definitely a lot of stuff that I had to do here at the house, you know, and a lot of responsibilities here at the house. So I guess it's like more like a somewhat question, I guess.
How has the quarantine kind of changed your perspective on kind of online learning? Did it kind of put a good note, good positive note on it, or did it kind of give a negative connotation on it?
Like I said, it's like I'm in between, so it's like a positive and a negative. So, uh, just classes online, I'd say they're a negative thing because the teacher definitely cuts in and out. You can barely understand what they're saying, or if she's trying to share a video or something with the class, it's laggy and you can't really quite hear it, something like that.
Did the quarantine kind of change your overall daily routine? So did you kind of start out kind of energetic, and then towards the end it kind of got a little, your routine maybe got a little lazier or something? Just kind of tell me about that.
I'd say it's gotten a bit lazier in a way. Well, in the morning I'd wake up and I'd be really tired, and I try to focus in class, and like I said, like she'll cut out, or like sometimes the Zoom meeting will kick me out.
Yeah.
Or things like that, that affect everyone. And then I try to, email her, or like there's issues with Wi-Fi stuff.
Yeah.
But it definitely has changed a lot, because I literally just have to get my computer and just sit in bed, and that's about it.
So on quarantine, what was one of the things you missed, or what was one of the things you took for granted before quarantine that could kind of make a difference now?
Definitely seeing my friends. I haven't been able to see many of my friends like in person like for a couple weeks now, and I'm not going to be able to see them for a while because of school being online now. So
Yeah.
it's definitely seeing all my friends.
How did the quarantine kind of affect you mentally?
Honestly, it kind of hurt my mental health. Like, I just hate being stuck in my house all day, sitting in front of a screen.
Yeah.
And like I end up getting a headache at the end of the day, even when I only have to go online for 2 of my classes on Mondays and Tuesdays. But I still always end up with a headache, and it's just kind of mentally draining.
Yeah, I totally agree on that one. And then how did it kind of change your daily routine?
It kind of changed it a bit, not really, because I still have to get up and take my brother to school at the same time that I would get up to go to in-person school. So it didn't really change that much. It just changed because my parents are split up, so I stay at my dad's until Monday now because I don't have to go to school. So I'm able to stay at my dad's a little longer.
Kind of following on that note, did you kind of see yourself kind of maybe like the first day of quarantine, you got up, you got ready, and you were like ready for the day, but kind of towards the end of quarantine, were you a little maybe like sluggish on that routine? You didn't get ready, you weren't as energetic in the morning for class. What did it kind of change that?
Yeah, like the first 2 days of like my in-person learning though, I was actually on vacation because I didn't know I was supposed to be quarantined. So I was in Utah. So that one wasn't really that big of a deal, but last Thursday and Friday, it was just like, okay, I didn't even really get ready. Like I just threw on like just new clothes. I didn't really like get ready for the day like I usually would.
Yeah.
So it was just like, throw this on, okay, now go to class.
What were some of the emotions and feelings? How did that kind of change? So how did it kind of mentally affect you?
Well, to me, at first, when I figured out I was going to be quarantined, I was kind of angry because I'm not at the person that got sick or anything. I was just kind of angry that this is happening because I'm not a really good learner or online, and I don't do very well online because I'm not a very patient person. So when I like had to email someone or ask a teacher such a simple question and I had to wait for such a long time like on an email, to me that's like something I need to know, and it's really frustrating for me.
Yeah.
But as like quarantine continued, I realized it isn't, I became more independent. Like it really kind of helped me release like the stress I was feeling, like being by myself for a while. And honestly, it wasn't too bad, like compared to what I thought it was gonna be. But at first I was kind of angry, but as time went on, I I think it's good that I was in quarantine because it kept others from getting sick, and Yeah.
I'm with you there. Good job. And then I guess my next question was, how did the quarantine kind of change your daily routine?
It changed my daily routine because when you're at home, usually, I don't know if you noticed this, but when you're at school or at home, you usually don't turn your cameras on. You don't really speak out unless you have an urgent question or something. So
Yeah.
kind of changed my routine by like, I don't really have to get ready because no one's going to be seeing you
Yeah.
unless you turn your camera on or something. And like I kind of forgot about like eating healthy. That's kind of weird to say, but like time for me just kept being on the computer and doing all these assignments at the same time that I kind of forgot like I had to eat, I had to do other stuff than just be at school and do work and assignments. So it kind of changed my routine of like getting ready, going to school, having lunch, going back to class, and doing my other activities after school. It kind of just mashed all together. And being at home all the time, it kind of like everything got smushed, and it was something that I kept forgetting to do things that were personal and not just schoolwork and focusing on everything about school.
Did you? Um, so my first question is, did the quarantine kind of affect you mentally?
No, not as much as it did the first time in freshman year and between what was it, April. It didn't affect me as bad because I was actually more prepared this year because I knew it was going to happen.
And did it affect your, because a lot of people that I've talked to, um, their the start of their quarantine was very energetic. They would get up in the morning, get ready, they're ready for the day, but then nearing the end of their quarantine, it just kind of got a little sluggish. They weren't as energetic for school because they've been sitting in a screen for 8 hours a day for 2 weeks. So how did that kind of affect your routine?
I definitely got more lazier because every day I'd be working out. And then I started missing more days, and then eventually I stopped doing it. It's been 3 weeks now I've been quarantined because my best friend had it and she gave it to me, and I had to quarantine myself. And then my teacher put us all in quarantine, so now I have to wait for another 2 weeks, I think it said, until I can actually fully go back to school. But I just heard that we're not coming back till the 30th, it said.
Yeah.
So it's been a weird, and I guess I got more comfortable with being at home instead of wanting to go to school, because when you want to, or when you're or when you need to go to school, you want to learn, you want to engage more, but when you're at home, you're most likely going to stay on your bed and you're going to be lazy.
Yeah, I totally agree. And during 2020, we take a lot of we've noticed that we take a lot of things for granted. So what was one thing that before the quarantine and then during the quarantine you kind of took for granted?
Going out. I wish I would have done more of it, to be honest, because I always wanted to be home. I never wanted to go to school. I never wanted to be out. And now that I'm always at home, I wish I would have went out more before all of this happened, because now it's kind of scary to go out. So it's just got to be careful now.